Hey everybody, just decided I'm going to do a little walk around, a little review on some of the upgrades I've done to my Commander. Maybe it'll help you out. Maybe you've already done them. Maybe you're thinking about doing them. I'm going to show you a few things that I really like, a few things I did to help me out and protect myself and my passenger a little bit better than what the standard Commander does. First thing you'll notice is I've taken the nets off. The stock nets, I mean, they're okay, but they don't really stop a whole lot from coming in. They'll stop you from coming out, hopefully, but most of the mud and stuff and sticks that you run over get thrown right up into your legs, and I didn't like that. So first thing I did was I went and I bought a set of Blingstar doors. I'm not sure Blingstar is still in business, but I really like these doors, and I like the height of them as compared to the Can-Am Pro Armor doors, which actually come out and drop down to about knee level. These stay right up at full height, so you can drive down the trail with your arm rested on the side of the door if you want. Or when I'm plowing snow a lot, I have my arm rested on the side of the door, and I'll lean out the side to look behind me. So for that, they're wonderful. They don't take too long to install. I got these off of Amazon for about 500 bucks. Of course, the vinyls that I stuck on them were a little extra. I had a guy custom make them for me. As far as how they go in, you got a bracket that goes in up here. That's a little bit of a pain because this piece all has to come off. The glove back has to come out, and this one's really difficult actually to mount. But a few hours and you can have them both on. One thing I did do is I got a rubber band here on my latch. Without it, this bounces around going down the trail, and it'll drive you out of your mind. So I put that on there. That keeps it from bouncing around and makes me a lot happier. Next thing I did was rock sliders. These are the Super ATV rock sliders, which I like a lot because they use existing holes underneath the machine in the frame to mount. Unlike some of the other ones, you actually have to drill holes through this plastic. And really the whole point of these is to protect this plastic, not punch holes in it. So these are wonderful, and they actually hang down below the plastic, as you can see up there in the front, and they stick out, so if you do catch a stump or something, they kind of kick you away from it, so it don't rip your back wheel off. So they've definitely taken a few hits, not a ton so far, but they have taken a few, and I'm glad I've got them. The next thing I did is a half windshield. Now I chose a half because I like the mud, and when you get mud splashing up on the front of you, just keep some of the mud off. However, it also helps to deflect rainwater and stuff like that up over you. But if it does get covered with mud, you can still see over it. So not a huge deal. Where unlike a full windshield, if it gets covered with mud, you have no choice but to stop and try to clean it without scratching it, which is a feat in and of itself. You'll also notice a light bar. I think that's a 22.5-inch light bar. I got that off of Amazon. I believe it's made by Mick Tuning or something like that. Obviously Chinese-made light bar. But for 50 bucks, you can get a 22-inch light bar, wiring harness, and the switch that mounts right there in the dash. I don't know if you can really see it. It's this one right here. And that is a lighted switch. If you wire it properly, it is lighted, which is pretty awesome. Projects pretty far down the trail, but yet doesn't really blind the people in front of you, which is nice. You also see a little homemade. I made this bracket here, which is I'm going to replace it with a ram mount. That's a homemade bracket for my camera mount. Rear view mirror, an absolute necessity in a side-by-side for watching the people behind you. It just makes life much easier. You also see a rear screen. That keeps the dust from coming in. To a point. Some dust still will come in, but it lets you breathe too. It lets you get some airflow. It can get really hot inside there without. If you get these all closed up, especially with doors, the windshield, you put a solid panel back there. Now you've pretty much closed the cabin, and you're going to overheat because the engine's sitting right between you. I do have a stereo. Mounted it. Speakers are mounted in the corners. The amp is mounted underneath. It is Bluetooth, so that's awesome. And you'll see a couple switches right here. I got a switch to turn the stereo on and off, and then my volume control, and below it is a switch for a backup light, which I'm going to show you here next. I was noticing getting some popping when I turned the key on through the speakers, and I think just when everything starts up, it's sending some interference through the amplifier. So I just put it on a switch so I can just turn it off. The only time I really listen to it is plowing snow. So, I mean, for the most part, it's off. Also got the backup light, absolute necessity if you're going to ride at night. You gotta have it because you cannot see behind you in these things. The Super ATV Bimini roof, which is a soft top. Only downfall with it is they don't put a center strap in it. So what I did is I used a, like you can kind of see the hose clamp there that's holding my light. What I did is cut a little slit in it, and there's a hard piece across there. So I cut a little slit in it, pulled it tight, clamped it up. Now it doesn't come loose and flop around on me. Much better. You'll see a couple studs here, which these studs are actually for mounting my toolbox. There's one on each side. Then there's a little hole in the floor right there. Toolbox over here I take in and out. I keep helmets in it. I keep a little cooler in it with pop and other stuff when we're riding. I put these brackets on it so I can just slip it on and then put a couple of 1/2-inch nuts and washers, and bang, it's bolted down. I got a little bracket there on the front too to kind of screw it down. Once it's in there, it's not going anywhere. I could roll the thing over and it's not coming out, which is pretty awesome. I did make a tow point back here. A tiger tail would be ideal, but they do get beat up a little bit back here. It's a little bent and banged up from just running over big rocks and stuff that I've slid over, and they do a little damage on the way by. But nice to have if you need to pull somebody out. You're not hooking to them little flimsy loops. You're actually hooking to something substantial, which I just made that. Just a piece of 2-inch box tubing. Cut a little ear on it and drill a hole, put a shackle through it. You're all set. My model did come with a winch, which if you have one of these, you have to have a winch. If you get stuck, you are not picking these up and moving them. And a 4-wheeler is probably not going to pull you out. This thing weighs like 1,300 pounds dry. So if you're stuck, you're stuck. You need a winch. Don't skimp on that. You have to have it, or you will regret it. You'll be sorry later. Other than that, that's pretty much all I've done so far. Don't think I missed anything. Just wanted to give you a little walk around and take a look at what I've done. Maybe this will help you out. Maybe it'll give you a couple ideas. Maybe it won't. But thanks for watching, and we'll get back to you when I do some more upgrades.